I don't know about you, but I've been noticing a lot of change in the world lately. Change can be very triggering, especially I think for a lot of us, living in modern society awards us this level of comfort that we trick ourselves into thinking that we have shit under control. We assume because we have structures that somehow removes uncertainty from the equation. When things we don't expect happen, it makes us feel vulnerable, which can be very uncomfortable. You have a plan, and the universe has another. What do? Get mad, throw a fit, cry about it, blame the world? Or do you adapt? Do you fight the wave, or do you let go and ride it? I like to say that I'm a planner. I love a good plan. To me, a good plan is like the blueprint for success. There are things we expect out of our life, goals we set because we make assumptions about what lies ahead. It's a survival strategy that runs deep in our culture. I think one of the hardest things to be is an individual that is so not attached to the situation that you can gracefully adapt to a changing environment without experiencing inner turmoil and unnecessary suffering. I'm not at all saying that stress is a bad thing, but constantly triggering our stress response to everyday inconveniences is not ideal for our health, both physical and mental. How many times has an event like missing a flight, losing a job, and moving to a new place throw you into a spiral, doubting everything and leaving you feeling lost and confused? With everything going on, it feels right to focus on the topic of embracing change, because embracing change is what life is all about. Those that make this a skill are not only able to enjoy their lives more, but are able to be intentional in their pursuits rather than caught up in the noise. Are you able to let go of what you think the next moment should be and embrace it for what it is? Can you turn what most would consider a negative experience and see the opportunities it creates for you? We only suffer in the mind. The second we recognize we are not our mind, you gain the ability to embrace change and the emotions that arise with a new sense of curiosity that opens you up to looking at situations in a new light. Now, I get that that's a lot easier said than done. We are feeling beings. How do you not get caught up in what you feel and not have that drive your next decision? In Eastern philosophy, you can leverage the breath to ground yourself in the moment and stop yourself from getting caught up in all the mental chatter. I learned early that just because you understand a concept doesn't mean you actually know how to apply it. Embracing change is not an overnight process because it requires you facing all that bottled up anxiety that gets triggered every time something doesn't go your way. Embracing change has less to do with creating the most agile plan and more about being able to sit in your feelings at a given moment with awareness rather than swinging between states of desire, aversion, and ignorance. It is seeing things for what they are rather than listening to the stories your mind creates about them. Each day is an opportunity to see reality for what it is, not taking away from our role in it. Impermanence is the way of nature, but in our pursuit of knowledge, we learn so much about this world we think we're no longer part of it. I found emotions to be a very interesting method for deepening your relationship with the self. Your emotional reaction to situations, people, and things are all a window into your psyche. They let us know when we're in spaces that make us feel safe and loved versus spaces that make us feel small and powerless. But negative experiences can cloud how we experience the present and how we adapt to change. On one hand, I acknowledge that it is in our nature to predict based on our experiences. It's a self-defense mechanism. If I touch something hot that hurts, I can anticipate that it will hurt again if I touched it again. Adopting an ideology of ignorance isn't exactly the best survival mechanism, but always assuming that a person is a particular way or events will turn out a certain way is nothing more than an assumption. You are never the same day to day, depending on what you ate, where you've been, what you've overcome. The person you are in the next moment changes. You expect people to accept you for who you are. Can you do the same for others as a means of self-love for yourself and for your community? Generalizing spaces and the people in them often robs us of the opportunity to make deeper connections because we're already closed off to begin with. In addition, I find a lot of the reason we default to the comfort is because growing can be painful. It can be exhausting to constantly be pushing yourself to new heights, and overexerting yourself can lead to a pattern of dissatisfaction. Why push the boundaries of what could be when you can take it easy and coast by? You're not exactly hurting anyone by being mediocre, but you are hurting yourself. You are standing in the way of your path to greatness, unwilling to embrace the discomfort of change because you're scared of what lies on the other side. If you do choose to not grow, you may think that you're surviving by getting by, but in fact, you're slowly dying, withering away, because while you choose to be stagnant, others around you are reaching for the stars. Comfort leaves you more vulnerable in the end than a relentless pursuit of self-development. Knowing you can be better doesn't mean that you're lacking today. It means that there's more in your life to explore, more of yourself to discover. When you get caught in a negative mental spiral, it often robs you not only of your time, but your ability to take action. Even the trick of self-pity takes away your ability to think clearly, think creatively, and evolve in the pursuit of change. I have found that the universe is listening to you. It sees how you walk around in the world, and even if you lie to yourself, it knows if you have the faith or not. I realize it can be scary to truly trust that there's a force out there supporting your efforts because, frankly, if it didn't want you here, you wouldn't be here. No matter what has happened, you are still here, able to find another day. It doesn't matter what happened, but what you choose to do now. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. What do you want to do? What do you want to change? Where do you see opportunities for yourself to grow? And the thing is, nobody can answer that other than you, for yourself. It takes brutal honesty with yourself to see where you are and where you could be. Each of us has a pulse that drives us in a specific direction. The noise of our culture and of our environment can often distract us, taking what is meant to be focused energy and dispersing it everywhere and anywhere. Take that breath and go back to being centered. Observe, reflect, and grow. If your circumstances trigger strong emotions within, observe them. Reflect on the trigger and grow from that inner wisdom. Do this lovingly and compassionately. Have empathy for the parts of you that hurt. They want your attention. Change creates space. Change recycles. Change allows for balance between effort and rest. Change allows for reflection. Change inspires. Change re-energizes. Embrace the changes of life for what it is, and watch how your experience of life unfolds with it.